Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. God, this is the recap of WrestleMania weekend, guys, and a two-night spectacle, extravaganza. It was a little wet. It was a little wet, to say the least. But, like they always say in entertainment, the show must go on. What's going on, Bradley? How you doing?
Man, what's going on, Book? Coming off those 2 days of WrestleMania, and I got to say, as a wrestling fan, to see fans back in the building, it makes all the difference in the world, and I'm sure that we're going to talk about that. But I'm excited. I'm excited to get into it. But before we do, I just got to give love, props, and respect to the one and only DMX.
Yeah.
Gone too soon, 50 years old. DMX, legend. Legend doesn't even begin to describe what this man did in his career as a musician, as an MC, as a rapper. One of the best to ever do it. So, man had 2 solo albums in 1 calendar year. Two albums that went platinum in 1 calendar year. Not hard, not easy to do. Nobody can do that now. So, and DMX was one of the few to do it back then. So, rest in peace to the legend.
Definitely a shock, man. Definitely hit me hard because I was holding out. I was holding out that he was going to kick out. In the wrestling business, we always talking about kicking out, man. You got to kick out. I thought he was going to kick out of this thing, and boom, we was going to, have a. But man, DMX would say it himself, man. He's in a better place. I really believe that he would say that right now. He was always praying for everybody else before he prayed for himself. So definitely condolences to the family, and he will be definitely well missed throughout the music business and just life in general. I think DMX in his older years, it seemed like he was always about a message. It was always about uplifting, always about bringing somebody up. Even though he had his problems and whatnot, we all have our problems. And but when you put yourself out there like that on Front Street, where everybody can see you. You ain't got nothing to hide. Like myself, everybody know my backstory. Everybody know where I've been. Everybody know what I've done in my life, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not proud of it, and I'm sure DMX was not proud of the tough times that he was going through, just like myself. But to put him out there for some young kid that perhaps going through that same struggle can learn from it. That's a real man. Big ups, big props.
Yeah. I mean, you summed it up great right there, and just like I said, his legacy will never stop. Just like his music, man. His music had so much energy. You know what I mean? And if you have that much energy, that much spirit in you, you just don't go away. You know what I mean? You're felt forever.
Definitely one of a kind. Definitely
100%. Where my dogs at?
Yeah.
One time for DMX.
Yeah,
but no, Book, we got to talk about, because I feel like this whole show we got to talk about WrestleMania, because it was.
we got a little bit of UFC talk as well. With UFC Fight Night went down this weekend with Holland stepping in with the Vittori. What a fight, as well as Youssef Ono Allen fight. That fight right there was definitely something that took me by surprise. Youssef. New cat in the UFC, but undefeated. Seemed like he was that phenomenon that was just gonna, take over the division and boom, be somewhat like the next Mighty Mouse. But there's always bumps in the road, man. There's always bumps in the road. We got to talk about Mighty Mouse as well. Mighty Mouse had a fight last week on 1FC. I was talking to some of the boys at work about it. His first KO loss. Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson, first KO loss, needed a dome. Bam! So we got a lot to talk about, man.
I thought you were gonna bring up how my countryman Conor McGregor stiffed Dustin Poirier on that donation to the charity. Did you see that?
Yeah, I was reading about that, man. You know what? I can't wait for that one too. I can't wait. It's a lot going on, and we gotta unpack. First, let's talk about Holland, Vittori. Holland stepped in for Darren Till. Darren Till went down. be that as it may, it's a check. It's a check I can go and pick up. Holler say, look, let me get in there. I got some more jewelry. I want to go get. I got some more watches. I want to go buy. That was funny. When they showed Kevin Holland, kind of like 24 on FS1, I guess, on ESPN or whatever it was. They were showing them like crib style. You got money now. You can splurge. You can drop a dime here and whatnot. And the brother was in the jewelry shop getting him a brand new watch. You know what I mean? And he was talking about now, he can splurge and spend. But that was before the first loss, the Brunson. And now he's got 2 losses in a row. And I'm wondering now if he want to take that watch back.
Let's see if he can, get cash value for it.
Exactly. I'm serious. You know what I mean? Because it seemed like he started splurging. And the thing is, when you start making money, you want to start spending money, but you got to be smart about it, especially in the fight game. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen as far as Kevin Holland's career? I heard he was talking about going train with DC to work on his ground game, to work on takedown defense, whatnot. What do you think about Kevin Holland being a mega talker to a guy who's literally now you can hear crickets, because he ain't saying nothing. What do you think?
Well, we see those guys a lot, and with Kevin Holland, he was one of those people who his name started coming up a lot. When I'm scrolling through Twitter, I always see him on the Twitter feed, always an Instagram shot, always something like this. And that's all well and good, and it helps people buy into the persona, maybe want to see you fight. But at the end of the day, like we were just talking about with Conor, like we've talked about with Conor McGregor, is the persona, the character. That larger-than-life ability is one thing, but you got to have the larger-than-life ability inside that octagon. 2 losses in a row, it doesn't do anything for anybody's stock, right? Everyone's stock drops after 1 loss, let alone 2 in a row. And for Kevin Holland, he's somebody. Look. Here's the thing: reaching out to DC it's not a terrible idea. I mean, Daniel Cormier, widely regarded as one of the great heavyweights of all time. We know his caliber as a wrestler. Olympic wrestler. So if you want to work on your ground game, calling somebody who's a 2-division champion and Olympic wrestler, not a bad idea. You got to try something at this point. And Kevin Holland, I hope he takes the steps that he needs to be successful back inside the cage, because all the other stuff, all that auxiliary stuff, none of it matters if you can't get the W when it counts.
You know what? I think his stock pretty much plummeted.
After
this fight, to be honest, man. Vettori, you look at this guy and you say he's not the best fighter in the UFC or anything like that, but he's got a gas tank, and man, he pushes forward. He's nonstop. He doesn't move back. He got hit with a lot of shots in this fight from Holland. Holland, jab was working, the right hand was working at certain times, hurt Vettori, and Vettori, relied on what he did best, and that was wrestle, take this guy down, ground and pound. He said he was going to smash him, and he pretty much did. 4 rounds to 1, if from my calculations, 4 rounds, maybe 1. He may have won the first round, maybe. But definitely he's a guy that's got a whole lot of holes in his game. He's got a lot of work he got to do as far as stepping up to the next level, as far as the mixed martial arts go. It's a whole lot goes with that. There's a whole lot involved with the mixed martial arts, but definitely I think he's gonna have a hard road back to getting where he was, just because he was in a good spot. And the thing is, I've heard these guys say, I'm just like Kevin Holland said, I'm a company guy. Teal went down, I stepped up and went in there. I took the loss. He said I could have stayed in the shower and just let the phone ring. I think that's what he should have did.
Maybe not a bad idea for him. And the thing about it too is when you look at Kevin Holland, now those 2 losses in a row, but even when you look at his wins, he's had a few big-ish wins. But when you're fighting a guy like Marvin Vettori or Derek Brunson, and you can't get the job done against those guys, and Brunson, I mean, they're both credible. But when you can't get the job done against those guys, like if you were going to give Vettori a letter ranking, like is he an A fighter, a B plus, B minus, C? What would you say?
I think he's a B fighter.
He's a B fighter. And what do you always say? If you can't beat the B fighter, you're not going to be
yeah.
able to beat the A fighter, be the champion of the world.
Or the B plus fighter.
Or the B plus fighter, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
so, it's not.
Just think Jacare Ray had Kevin Holland in a great position. He just lost position. And that fight turned out, to be a great win for Kevin Holland. But all fights don't turn out that way. Hey, guys, stick around. We got a whole lot to talk about. We'll be back in a minute.
This is Booker T World Gym Arena in Texas City, the home to the Reality of Wrestling Training Center. It's a 20,000 square foot facility with more than 50 full-time students and wrestlers from around the world. Inside the World Gym Arena sits a 9,000 square foot venue set up for weekly shows.
From up top, 1-2 moonsault!
Where our students showcase their skills in front of a live audience.
What he's done here is awesome. He's created opportunity, and he's creating great talent, as you guys well know.
In the back, a full weight room.
6 up!
Complete with state-of-the-art equipment and personal trainers.
There you go. Two more.
A full staff and office personnel.
One more.
Running the day-to-day operation. We have interview sets for TV production, promo classes, quarterly combines. We evaluate progression and team building. Referees, commentators, ring announcers, and live television production. At the World Gym Arena, we don't just teach you how to become a professional wrestler, but an elite sports entertainer. This is Reality of Wrestling.
Shoop! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Talking about UFC Fight Night went down this weekend on ESPN. Plus, Arnold Allen, Sadiq Youssef. Youssef's again there again, undefeated. Brother seemed like he had everything working for him. But in the fight game, you got to be prepared. Preparation is the only luck you're ever going to have. Arnold Allen, me personally, I didn't know a whole lot about him. These UFC Fight Nights, you see guys in there. A lot of time you may be seeing him for the first time. Arnold Allen was one of those guys. Like I said, I think maybe I've seen him before, but never really paid attention to him or anything like that. Sadiq Youssef is a guy that seemed like he was on the rise. I think he was discovered on that show, The Contender.
He was on Dana White's Contender Series.
Yeah, exactly. And kid looked like he had dynamite in left hand and right hand. The thing is, what I noticed in this fight with Youssef, man, he came in and he was throwing hard shots from the beginning. Every shot, it was like Monica Seles. He's just throwing punches you can hear him every time. And Arnold Allen seemed like he was just, touching him, not really throwing anything hard. And then, boom, he dropped a shot. And next thing you know, Sadiq is finding himself, boom, around down. And then the next round, okay, you feel like, man, okay, maybe that was a fluke. But round two seemed like a replay of round one, especially when the head kick came. Boom, almost took this kid out. Youssef, first loss in the UFC. What do you think this kid do from here? How do you think he regroups from this point?
It's hard when you have your first loss when you're still on your ascent, right? I mean, it's one thing when you make it to a comfortable spot on the card where you're going to get that call from the office to, hey, you want to come fight on Fight Night? You want to come fight UFC on ABC? Hey, we got a pay-per-view coming to Houston. You want to be on the card? It's one thing when you reach that status, but when you're on your ascent and you start to lose fights, especially in a co-main situation, it typically doesn't spell out good things for you. Somebody who comes to mind, someone who we loved on this show, Mickey Gall, right? Mickey Gall starts a little bit different.
Gall till we fall.
Gall till we fall, baby. But it's a little bit different, because Mickey started in a big spot with CM Punk. But nevertheless, on the ascent, not really quite there where you can say he's one of the guys, and then he starts losing fights. I hope that it doesn't happen to Yusuf, but losing in a big spot on a network television card, the second one they've ever had, it doesn't put you in a good position. Although it's just one fight, he's going to get another opportunity, but he's got to be careful to not fall into that vicious cycle to where you're just another guy on the roster and you don't have a prominent position. When your name comes up, the company goes, oh, let's give him a good fight. Oh, let's look out for him this time. You don't want to find yourself in that.
It kind of reminds me, not because of his color or anything like that, but just because like you were just talking about his ascent. Aljamain Sterling, he was a guy who started out young in the UFC, took losses, got back on the horse, came back, won, took another L, and then now he finds himself what?
Champion.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So
by default.
Hey man, no matter what, no matter how you get it, you got it. But he fought his way back to getting a championship shot. That right there said a whole lot about the Funk Master Sterling. So I think Yusuf definitely can fight his way back up. The one thing I think he's going to have to understand that he's not going to be able to go in there and just throw big hands and get guys out of there. You're going to be able to set your punches up, and the best fighters always been able to lure their opponent in, touching them with the little shots, little body shots here, not really throwing all your weight behind it, and your opponent think, man, this guy don't have a whole lot, and then boom, you unleash the nitrous oxide and the fight is over. That's the way the fight game is. So hopefully Sadiq Youssef will get back on the horse and get back in the game. But hey man, everybody is talking about just what happened this weekend. Everybody's talking about WrestleMania Night One. What a spectacle. Night Two. What an awesome night. I want to know what the fans, what everybody in the chat, thought about WrestleMania Night One, because that's what we're going to talk about first. Brad, I'm gonna pretty much let you kick it off. How'd you like it?
Well, I will say, like I said at the beginning, seeing that we had fans in the building was just such a welcome sight. And hearing Vince McMahon go, "Welcome to WrestleMania," it made you feel good inside. Night One killed it. I think pretty much on all levels. There was one match that I wasn't a huge fan of, but overall everything really delivered well. And starting it off with the WWE Championship match, it could have gone the wrong way as far as setting a tone, because I thought that Drew McIntyre was going to go out there, have his WrestleMania moment, win the WWE Championship in front of the first match in front of the crowd in a year and a day or whatever it was. I thought, okay, do people really want to see that at this moment? Is that the first thing people want to see from WrestleMania? And when Bobby went out there and got the job done and won the title, it set the mood for the night. Of what that told me is WWE said, "Hey guys, we're gonna give you what you want tonight."
I don't know if that's what they wanted though. Man, I'm gonna tell you
no, that's what people wanted.
Let me tell you.
I will speak for the fans.
Let me tell you something.
People wanted Bobby Lashley.
I was there. Okay. I saw it. I saw it up close and personal. The fans were so shocked. Literally, I thought somebody, in the front row was going to die from shock.
Well, it was surprising.
No, it was surprising, but the air seemed like, I wouldn't say it left the arena or anything like that, but everybody was shocked to the point to where almost like when the Undertaker streak was broken. That's the way it felt in the arena when Drew McIntyre did not break the Hurt Lock. He looked like he was going to break it. It felt like he was going to break it. And then all of a sudden, boom, he didn't. He taps. Referee calls for the bell. A lot of people did not see that happening the way it happened.
Well, no, I did not see that. I was 100% sure that Drew was going to win. I knew that they were going to give Bobby a good showing, but when Bobby put that Hurt Lock on, I'm like, oh, it's done. It's a wrap.
No, tell me this.
No. I mean, like, I'm sorry. I misspoke. When Bobby put the Hurt Lock on, I said, oh, it's done. Like, he's going to break it, hit him with the Claymore 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
When Bobby beats him clean, I was shocked. I was actually talking to somebody on the phone when it happened. And I was like, wait a minute, what happened? And so it took me a second to realize the moment, right? But when I check my Twitter timeline, which is how I figure out how the fans are reacting, everybody overwhelmingly was like, look, we love Drew, but this is Bobby's moment. And they would have knocked him, killed him off, knocked him the knees out from under him if they would have taken the title off of Bobby. My question, though, to you is, with Bobby Lashley winning, and say that was the plan all along for him to win at WrestleMania against Drew, why not just keep Drew as WWE champion through WrestleMania and have Bobby beat Drew for the title? Instead of, okay, you put it on Miz and then take it off Miz, put it on Bobby, and then you have this match with Drew. Why not just start with Drew walking into WrestleMania as a champion and losing it then? If he's going to lose anyway.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm not in the war room or anything like that. Writing the show. Of course, Drew could have, kept the title through WrestleMania, but the Miz moment actually was a really, really good moment.
I liked it. I'm just saying, I guess, like 30,000-foot view of things, why would you do that if you're just going to keep it on Bobby?
Well, like I say, maybe the thought process wasn't to keep it on Bobby. Things just happen. Sometimes when you get the the rockets, you gotta go with it. Sometimes you get lightning in a bottle, man. It's just something. I mean, Kofi Mania is just something that just organically happened. I think Bobby Lashley, like you just said a second ago, Bobby Lashley's time is now. I think the WWE universe, the fans, look at the show now and look at a guy like Bobby Lashley, and they say, man, we haven't seen a guy like Bobby Lashley in this position in a long time, other than someone like Brock Lesnar. But Brock Lesnar, definitely held the title and ran with it from a totally different perspective than the way Bobby's running with.
Agreed.
Part-time, full-time, a guy that they're every week, opposed to a guy that just shows up every now and then and work on pay-per-views, matches, match time. Everything's totally different as far as this goes. And I think now is I just really believe that we're at that stage to where I wouldn't say fans are trying to go back to the way it was or anything like that, but fans really do love seeing a real heavyweight in that position as the world heavyweight champion. Drew McIntyre as well. He's a major player. Roman Reigns, we're going to talk about him. He's a major player, but I do feel the shift of the business kind of, going back to the way it was once upon a time.
I 1,000% agree with that comment, especially in regards to Bobby. Even look at Bobby, Drew, Roman. The bigger athletes. Strowman, which we got when we talk about that match, we got to talk about Braun Strowman because we'll talk about it. But Bobby retaining the championship, 1,000% the right decision. And I think if they want to do something cool, you mentioned his name. There's no better time than right now to start building toward a Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar match at SummerSlam. So long as Bobby Lashley goes over. So long as he goes over. So long as he beats Brock. He's got to beat Brock.
Can't write it that way, man.
He's got to beat Brock. He's got to.
Well, we want him to. But we got a lot to talk about, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Brian, I know you're actually one of the most underrated talents that's ever been inside a reality wrestling ring, but you're not the talent. Me beating you, becoming the greatest reality wrestling champion, it's not personal, it's inevitable.
Brian Keith! Number 1, 2! He did it! Dreams do come true!
This is the bounty of all bounties. Are you ready to cowboy up?
Brian Keith, after all these years, cashing in and becoming the new reality of wrestling heavyweight champion. It was an awesome night. But this business, guys, has always been built on rematches.
You want your rematch? I'm a fighting champion.
You don't work hard like I do. You don't want this like I do. What do you want? Family? I'll bring your snot-nosed kids, your wife, your old ass.
I just want to let both of you guys know something. This match will be hell inside the steel cage.
Lives get changed inside that match. Inside that structure, no one comes out the same.
Will history repeat itself? Will lightning strike twice?
Brian Keith is 15 feet in the air. Brian Keith from up top. Unbelievable cover. No break.
And Ryan Davidson, I'm here to answer the call.
You get mauled.
Shup! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Talking WrestleMania 37 went down this weekend. 2 nights, man. 2 nights of action packed. Goings on in the in that stadium, man. I tell you, man. Even though it was raining, even though literally the first night it was coming down in buckets, but you could tell you could feel a sense that it didn't make any difference. The fans had their ponchos on. They were drinking. They were loud. Everybody was chanting, man. We even had some DMX, songs going around the building at one point in time, man. So I'm serious, man. Like you say, to have the fans back in the arena, you could definitely, you definitely can tell, man. You definitely can feel it from a entertainer's perspective, and watching these guys go out there and perform. You could tell the energy level was sky high. You could tell that these guys were feeling no pain as far as going out there and throwing caution to the wind. Even in certain matches that you didn't think you were going to see as much as you did, I think you got the full package. Who do we go to next, man?
I say, look, do you just want to and even if it's quickly, we'll just mention them in order. How about we go in order? Is that cool with you?
Go for it.
All right, let's talk about, the tag team turmoil match wasn't my favorite. I will admit.
You know what? It wasn't my favorite either, but it could have been.
It could have been great.
I'm going to say something right now, that I know I'm probably going to get a little bit of heat from, and I really don't care about it. But the ladies, man, the gauntlet match, tag team turmoil, it could have really turned out to be something really, really special if those ladies would have went out there and brought the performance from a perspective that's as real as it possibly can be. Now, I know the ladies look good. I know the ladies always want to go out and they want to get their dance on. They want to go out and get their smile on and whatnot. But I must say, this is not a modeling contest. This is not a cheerleading contest or anything like that. Look good, whooping somebody's ass. I could buy that all day. But just going out there and looking good and playing the game, that's not something that I'm going to buy. And I just think the tag team turmoil match, it could have been so much more.
Yeah, I think that you're right. Look, tag team wrestling, most 99% of the time, is always going to be my favorite thing on the card. And when it's a tag team turmoil match, you have the ability to do a lot of really cool things. You can tell a lot of great stories. I felt like it felt like it was and I don't know this, but it just kind of felt like nothing was just clicking, and there's a couple missed spots. That happens. Mandy on the way out slipping on the ramp.
Well, you know what?
That happens. Like you can't.
You know what? That's exactly what I'm talking about. I think the ladies sometimes they concentrate on looking good, opposed to going out there and working up to that level. I think a lot of times they think about their costumes and their makeup before they think about their in-ring performance. That's just the way I think. And the thing is, my thing is this right here. If you're not thinking in a situation like that, just say, for instance, the Mandy Rose blooper, I guess we'll call it. It's wet out there.
Right.
You got to be walking very, very gingerly. You got to make sure that you don't slip on a banana peel and make yourself look a certain way in front of 25,000 people live watching it. Okay. So that's a mistake that you can't blame anybody but yourself. And that's what I'm talking about as far as, man, keep your eye on the prize. Go out there. Everybody else. And my thing is this. If someone could have stood out that night for me, if they just would have went out and been a little bit different than everybody else. But everybody wanted to come out and and just go through the motions. And that's what I saw in the tag team turmoil match. Did some of the ladies go out there and step up? Of course. But for me, I need everybody to step up. But it was what it was.
I do want to touch on one thing you said there. You know, they say sometimes they focus on looking good or what have you instead of the work. But and the costuming. And this is just me playing devil's advocate. Wouldn't you say that that's half of what the industry is, though? It's going out there and looking a certain way.
Yeah, but this is my thing. When everybody looks the same, everybody, not just one person is concentrating on their costume or their makeup. Everyone is doing it. The one that comes out with no makeup and still looks good to me and can go out and work, that's the one that I'm going to cheer for.
Yeah, I hear you on that one.
That's the only thing that I'm saying.
I feel you.
I don't need you to be, Miss America. I don't need you to be flawless. Okay. From that perspective, but looking good. I tell all of my girl wrestlers, I tell them all, you never lose your sex appeal when performing, because you got to understand, why people come and watch the show, and wrestling is entertainment. So you still got to know how to entertain your fans that come to see you on a weekly basis, but you cannot forsake the performance in the ring just for that. That's the only thing I'm saying. I feel that. I want to give a shout out to the Riot Squad too, though. I liked what they did out there. But here was one that was big: Cesaro, Seth Rollins. These two guys went out there and they put on a wrestling match book, and Cesaro came out of this thing, I think, with all the energy in the world and all the momentum that you could ever have hoped for. Seth Rollins went out there, did his job. Cesaro did his job. Cesaro, to me now, is a guy who you could believably put in a main event style position, and he could hold himself there. You've said about Cesaro, just wait around, bro. Your time will come. Your time will come. His time came on Saturday night, and he stepped up to the plate, in my opinion. Nah, man. I said on the kickoff show, I said that match has the potential to steal WrestleMania. I don't know if it did that or not.
I don't think it stole it, but it was damn good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It was a really, really good match. Both guys went out there and did their job. First and foremost. So no, take nothing away from, what those guys went out there and did. They worked their butts off. I mean, the one spot there, the curb stomp, uppercut spot was just, it was poetry in motion, man. The swing, awesome. Cesaro swing, the finish, 1, 2, 3, the fans giving Cesaro that moment, that WrestleMania moment. You and I, we've talked about Cesaro and his career, and him being, tag team champions with everybody that he's been partners with. His legacy is made. But for him to have that moment, man, I'm happy for him. I must say that I'm happy for him. Cesaro, like you just said, he's my guy. I always told him, hey man, just keep working. Don't worry, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's gonna happen for you. And come Saturday night, it was a moment for Cesaro, and a moment that he's going to remember for the rest of his life.
I heard this story about Cesaro because he did that. It's almost like a torture rack airplane spin with no hands that he calls the UFO, right? And I've never seen him do it before until WrestleMania. And I read this story that he was doing this on the independent scene, and when he signed to WWE in 2012, and Terry Taylor saw a video of it and went to Cesaro and said, hey, man, you need to be doing that in every match. That's going to get you over. And Cesaro told Terry Taylor in 2012, I'm saving it for WrestleMania.
Wow.
and he didn't do it until this WrestleMania. And he broke it out.
Wow.
Isn't that a great story?
Heck yeah, man.
That's
the thing right there too. You know what I mean? A lot of guys go out there and just throw everything out every week. And they continue to throw it out every week. They go out and do the same finisher the same way every week. The same moves. And it's so hard to, separate yourself when you're that guy. And then to see Cesaro do that consciously, knowingly, it tells you a whole lot about him. I used to talk about Carlito when he was a heel biting the apple. All he was a heel. He just went out and beat guys up. And then when he became a babyface, I saw him doing backflips, stuffing you off the top rope. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? When did you start doing that stuff? I mean, he's like, man, I know how to do this stuff all the time. I just never did it. So those are the guys, man. Those are the real workers. That's not just going to go out there and throw something out there just to get a pop.
Right.
I mean, just to get a "this is awesome" chant, stuff like that. So appreciate what Cesaro do. We got a super chat.
Oh, yeah, we have a super chat. Let me get to it right now. It is from RDAB, who says, I agree the women wanted to be called superstars, but there's something very diva-ish about them or their mentality. I don't know if I fully agree with that, especially what we see later. But
I think that's exactly what I'm talking about. As far as at one point in time, we were just talking about it on just a couple nights, just last week. Sable.
Right.
Okay. In the locker room, what the locker room looked like, how the talent search was done back then, looking for female wrestlers. A lot of times we were looking for models. We wasn't looking for wrestlers. We were one of my students who's right now, banging it up down there, Ember Moon. She had several tryouts, but the one thing about her, there wasn't looking for her type, her look. They were looking for the model type look. They wasn't really looking for the hardcore wrestler. They were looking for women that they could train to actually go out and look like they can wrestle. And I think now with the roster and the ladies, like I say, everybody wanting to be flawless. Everybody thinking about how good they look. And I know that's a big part of it. But if the work is not there, none of that matters. That's just my opinion.
No, I hear what you're saying. But we gotta take a quick break here. Booker T, send them on.
Stick around. We'll be back. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We're talking WrestleMania 37 went down in Tampa. Who's next, man? Who's next? What do we got?
All right, let's talk about it. This was an interesting one. The tag team match for the Raw tag team titles, the New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos. AJ Styles, Omos take the victory. The 7-foot-plus giant makes his debut at WrestleMania. And I gotta say, it was a quick match, but for what it was interesting that the New Day were essentially the heels of the match. I don't know if you picked up on that. They were out there. They were obnoxious. They were annoying. I mean, pretty much like their typical selves. But but they came off as big heels for the giant Omos to go in there and get his stuff together, get his stuff in. Book.
Hey, man, I think that match went exactly the way it should have.
Yeah.
You got a guy in there, a giant, 7 foot plus. What can you do? What should you do in a situation like that? You can't go out there and make this guy look anything but good in his first in-ring debut. To walk out tag team champions, only fitting. Where does the New Day go from here? That's the question. Have the New Day run their course? I think that's the question here more than anything.
I think we're right there. We're right at the tail end to where they need to start doing something that's different because, unless they go heel, because they kind of were leaning a little heely in this match, right? And part of that was to sell the big guy or what have you. unless they go heel, they can get a little bit longer out of it. But in the incarnation,
how much longer?
Not much longer, but that's the last little piece of juice.
Come on.
What?
Come on, let's be real here.
Yeah.
Who wants to see Kofi Kingston be a heel? Kofi's a good guy. He's a nice guy. I can't see Kofi coming out and ripping somebody's sign up like I would do or anything like that. I can't see Xavier Woods, a college man, doctor, acting like he's a badass, a tough guy.
They were heels at first, remember? The New Day sucks chants, they were heels.
No, the fans made them sucks.
They did make them suck, so then they pivoted. They went heel for a little while, all three of them, and then they pivoted again and went baby.
Yeah, but the design was always for the baby faces.
Sure. Okay?
Just because the fans turn on you and don't like it, that's one thing. You turn it around, then they start liking it. That's just the fans being, who they are sometimes. But no.
So what you're saying is New Day should break up?
Well, I don't know. My thing is this. I just don't know where the New Day go. Right now, Big E is on the island of his own. Okay, sure. Big E's trying to break out. Xavier Woods, in singles competition. Kofi Kingston. Kofi's had a hell of a run. Kofi's been there 13, 14 years,
something like that.
He's been around a minute.
He's a made man.
Yeah. I'm just wondering where does how much mileage is left in the New Day? I don't think it's much. Let's just say that.
They got to be one of the longest running tag teams of the new era, right? I mean, can you think of anybody who's been together longer than them? They've been together since 2014, I think. 2014, 6-7 years. I mean, it's been a real long run for them.
And the thing is, I look at being in a group like that, kind of like a stepping stone. You can kind of like have two careers out of, a situation like that. Someone like myself being in a 10-year tag team relationship with my brother, and then breaking out into singles. It was like I was brand new again. The only person I see that working for is Big E, as far as being something new, because Kofi's been a singles wrestler for many years before he was with the New Day. Xavier Woods being a guy who, I don't know. Xavier Woods seemed like he was in the right place at the right time, jumping in with the New Day and creating that nucleus, and the thing is, I really can't see a lot of the New Day's ideas being Xavier Woods. You know what I mean? Because he's off into that video game world. You know what I mean? He's off into, the bootios, creating something. I'm serious. You know what I mean?
Right. That's his bag. Yeah.
That's his bag. You know what I mean? So I just wonder, where do they go from here? But yeah. Big ups for Almost. Big ups to AJ Styles, one of my guys, new tag team champions.
And that makes AJ a Grand Slam champion.
That is.
Joins the club.
And we will see where the New Day goes from here.
All right, now this next one was Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon inside the steel cage. And I will tell you this. I'll be honest, this is me being 100% honest. I had zero interest in this going in. I thought the bill was silly. Shane calling Braun stupid on television was dumb.
What do you think about my theory, though?
Which theory?
My theory that I had on the kickoff show, which was, I don't know if you
lay it down.
No, it was a lot of the fans, tried to beat me up a little bit on Twitter about it, talking about I stole that line from the 5 Heartbeats. Well, I did, but it sounded good. It sounded good though. As far as Shane McMahon trying to get something out of Braun Strowman, that no one else could. Shane McMahon is not just, a wrestler. He's not just one of the boys. He's the CEO in this company. He has a lot invested. And the monster among men, as of late, hadn't been too monstrous.
I agree.
So I got to do something to bring this monster out. I want the monster that once was. And sometimes, it might take a ridiculing. It might take a B rating. It may take all kinds of tools to make that happen. And and I pretty much said that on the kickoff show. That was my theory as far as, why was Shane McMahon interjecting himself in a situation where he really didn't have to, but being the boss, sometimes you lead by example.
Well, yeah, again, to go back to it, I think that your theory was right there. I had zero interest in the build of this match. Shane McMahon saying that Braun had a D in gym and English and all this stuff, I thought it was silly. This match delivered for me on all cylinders. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and I came out of it a bigger Braun Strowman fan that I went in, which proves your theory correct. Is Braun went in there, he takes an early onslaught from what's his name, Jackson and Elias.
Yeah.
And takes an early onslaught, runs around, beats Shane McMahon up, throws him off the cage, big power slam, pulling the chain link off. He looked like a monster. He looked okay. I was like, oh, okay. There's that Braun Strowman that we saw 3-4 years ago when he was, in the triple threat with Brock Lesnar, and we all wanted him to be champion. That's the guy. And Shane, if that was his goal, which I'm sure that it was, 100% achieved it. And people always talk crap about Shane McMahon on WrestleMania matches. Every WrestleMania match he's had since he's been back has actually been good, and it's been memorable, right? I mean, him jumping off the cell at Mania 32, him and AJ.
Bumping off the top of the cage.
Woo!
I'm like, the thing is,
and he bounced.
It would have been so hard for me to be Braun Strowman in that situation. I mean, my stomach literally was tied up in knots just watching Braun up there, thinking that, man, just one slip. Of course, he had a little bit of safety net up there, but it was very little of safety up there on top of that cage. And then to watch Shane McMahon, just literally swan dive off the top of the cage and almost land a perfect 10. It was probably like a 8.5 or 8.0 or something like that.
Right.
As far as sticking the land.
He would have medaled.
Maybe, you know what I mean?
He would have
medaled. He close, but I tell you, I saw him after, I said, man, you all right, man? He's like, yeah, man, I'm good. So I see a little banged up. I go, you know how it is, but I'm serious, but it's just amazing that, at his age, still willing to go out there and take one for the team. That right there says a whole lot about the dude. So great match. I love that match. It was pretty good.
It was great. It was really great. And like I said, I walked out a bigger Braun Strowman fan than I went in. Now, Book, this next one was really, if I had to rank the 3 most talked about matches of this WrestleMania out of the 14, this is in the top 3. It may have been top 2. And this is the one that we're going to have to spend some time on. This was The Miz and John Morrison taking on Damian Priest and Bad Bunny in a tag team match that went 15 minutes long at WrestleMania, and it set the internet ablaze. You were ringside for this. You saw it. You were on the call for the Bad Bunny match that the world was talking about, and the people have been waiting for this show right here, the Hall of Fame, to hear what Booker T actually thought of his man, his guy, Bad Bunny, San Bonito. We all wanted to know exactly what you thought of this epic encounter between these 4 individuals. We're waiting, Book. We want to hear it.
I tell you, man, what a night. It's one of the things. What a night. What a fight. That's what they used to say back in the day when it was an epic match that went down. Everybody went home, with the ladies. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's happy. You get home, you have a drink, sit back, and you still want to talk about it some more. That's what I think Benito went out and did with Damian Priest and Miz and John Morrison. Big ups. I must say big ups. Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We got to talk about this. We'll be back in a minute.
Oh my goodness, here he comes. The precision tactician, the chosen one, Rex Andrews. And we have to remind everyone how Rex Andrews got here. He won the last man stand match, defeating all of those other competitors, and had an opportunity to choose any championship that he wanted.
When I was in Japan, I knew whose championship I was coming to take. Behind door number 1, we got the television championship. The championship that I held for a year and a half. Brought it up to prestige. Maybe I want one more run with it. But behind door number 2, the Texas championship. The title that was made for me. The inaugural champion traveled the country defending that championship. They're behind door number 3. The one title I haven't held.
Rex, I respect you. I respect everywhere you went, every title you won. You come out here and tell me that you're what a champion looks like, that you're what a champion talks like. As long as I'm holding this title, this is what a champion looks like. This is what el campeón looks like. Marcellus Black versus Gino. Evan Snow versus Gino. Eddie Cristiano versus Gino. There's one thing in common in that. And now we got Rex Andrews versus Gino.
This is not probably one of the biggest matches in reality wrestling history. This is the biggest match that this company has ever promoted. The only reason you still have that championship, the only reason is because you took the easy way out. Last match we had, you knew you were beat, and you hit me with that low blow. Gino doesn't have the grit. Gino doesn't have the determination. Gino does not have the ability to stop me.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Talking WrestleMania recap right now. Talking about Miz Morrison, Bunny Priest, and what my thoughts, man? What my honest thoughts are on that matchup. Just like everybody else, going into the thing, it could be one or two things. It could be really good. They really screwed this one up. Right. I must say, Benito, Bad Bunny, he put in the work. But one thing about Bad Bunny also is that this dude is a real fan. He's a real fan of professional wrestling. He's been watching it for years, obviously, just by putting me on the way he did. Writing a song about me. They let me know that he was a kid really watching this thing that we call professional wrestling, and sometimes when you watch it from that perspective, you kind of have a inkling of what it is, kinda. Not saying that you're a professional or anything, or you actually really know how to do it, but you kind of feel like you know how to do it. And the reason I say that is because before I ever wrestled, I was watching some guys on television, WCW, and I was like, man, it's Joe Gomez. I can't remember. He was playing this like cool gimmick. Can't remember who he was wrestling. But when I watched it, I go, man, I think I could do this better than him right now. And this dude was on television getting a paycheck. He had a contract. I'm sitting at home, still working fast food, and I'm watching it, and I say, man, I think I could do this better than him right now. And the thing is, I didn't just say that. I really felt like I was better than him. And I was talking about Bad Bunny, got a chance to actually sit, guest commentate for that match. And I said, first thing I said is, this is a kid. First thing I said, kid from Puerto Rico. All right. That right there tells me something as far as he didn't grow up with a silver spoon in his mouth. He had to figure it out. Lifelong fan to professional wrestling. That right there tells me, man, he loves this. And then for him to be in the middle of that ring as a kid, now just think about it. As a kid, Bad Bunny watching professional wrestling, there's no way in a million years that he ever thought that he would be in WrestleMania in a tag team match. Come on.
No chance in hell.
There's no chance in hell that kid thought that. But he was prepared for that moment. And I tell you, man, he went out and knocked it out. There's so many guys that would have been in that position that wouldn't have known how to handle it, wouldn't have known how to take that moment and make it theirs. Man, this dude, from the outset of that match to the end, he worked. And that's what workers do. I give Bad Bunny superstar status now, WWE superstar status, because that's how good he went out there and did.
You said it on the broadcast. Give him a contract. Give it to him. Look. As a wrestling fan, we've seen celebrity matches for as long as I can remember, or celebrity involvement, and some of them are better than others. Most of them are okay at best, right? And Bad Bunny, who came in, it's not like Bad Bunny was an athlete. Like Lawrence Taylor or Pat McAfee. He wasn't an athlete. He wasn't athletic background as a professional, at least. I don't know what he did, back in Puerto Rico growing up. But for him to come in as
he bagged groceries.
He bagged groceries. So that's not an athletic background, right? A professional athletic background. So,
I never played sports. I also, but I was very athletic. Bad Bunny, same situation. You could tell he's athletic.
He's got an athletic bone.
Exactly.
100%. I agree. And that's what I was about to say. But he came out here and he completely surprised everybody. Best celebrity match ever of all time. And I don't think I'm being a prisoner of the moment. Better than LT.
Better than Pat McAfee.
I think the match was more entertaining than Pat McAfee.
It was more entertaining.
Pat McAfee might have been a little bit better as far as the technical aspects of it and the natural athleticism, but Bad Bunny had a little bit more charisma about it, or the match had a vibe. It had more of a vibe. And when Bad Bunny, he hits the high fly off the top, cool, I saw him do it before. But when he's on the outside with Morrison, and he gives Morrison a Canadian destroyer, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. He just hit him with a Canadian destroyer.
The Bunny Destroyer.
The Bunny Destroyer, as you called it. It was so crazy to me, but it was great. Everything worked. Everything worked in that match. And man, if they don't use Bad Bunny again in the future, as long as Bunny wants to.
You know what? Let's not get too far past where credit should be given, and that's the
you're right.
Miz, man. The Miz did so much work in that match. John Morrison did a lot of work as well, but the Miz literally stepped up to the plate, and he did all the stuff that I talk about. As far as your losses got to be better than your wins.
Yep.
Going out there and making sure the guy that, he may not be that good of a wrestler, but you got to make him look like, he's $1 million better than he ever thought he could make himself look. You got to do that for him. And Miz and Morrison, man, those guys went out, stepped up to the plate, and they were so professional about going out there, doing the job, and making Bad Bunny look like literally the ultimate superstar at WrestleMania. There again, that's a moment, no matter how big.
I agree. 100%.
Being a part of something like that, because like I say, nowhere as a young kid growing up in Puerto Rico, would he have ever thought that he would be in the middle of the ring. Literally, not just in the middle of the ring, but somewhat still in the show at WrestleMania 37. Big props.
To that moment, they had the best match on the show. To that moment, and this is a night of great matches. They had the best match up to that moment. Then you had the main event of night one: Bianca Belair winning the SmackDown Women's Championship against Sasha Banks. First time two women one-on-one main eventing a WrestleMania. It's a two-night WrestleMania.
African American women.
And then I was about to make the distinction, as Michael Cole said on the broadcast, the first time two black women in the main event, to quote Michael Cole, which, it was a historic moment. You could see Sasha and Bianca having the realization of what the moment meant while they were in the ring, looking at each other. Bianca's holding back tears, Sasha's holding back tears, and even after Bianca goes over in that match, you see Sasha on the outside, and look, she just lost the Women's Championship in the main event. She's smiling ear to ear. She's so happy, because of what that moment meant. So it was. And by the way, out of this night one, it was the best match on the show. It was one of the top two best matches of all WrestleMania. And Bianca Belair walks out of this on the precipice of becoming the next megastar in professional wrestling.
Yeah. And JBL said that wasn't Black history, it was just history. But and I didn't. It wasn't the right time. It was Black history,
absolutely,
as far as I'm concerned, because the last time two African Americans stood in the ring in the main event in that company. It was 20 years ago, and it was me and The Rock at SummerSlam. So it was 20 years ago. Two African Americans stood across the ring from each other and combated with each other. So it was Black History, and I'll correct JBL on that at another time.
Yeah. No, I mean it was definitely both, but yeah, I thought it was actually a very, very keen and poetic thing for Michael Cole to call attention to it, right? I mean, he could have easily just said, for the first time, 2 women main event WrestleMania, but for him to call attention to the moment for what it is, because that, more than anything, let people know that it's possible, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that what it's all about? Wow. Well, not only do we have 2 women, but for the first time, but it happens to be 2 Black women, and really the 2 most talented women in the company right now, in my opinion, are Bianca and Sasha. Sasha's been on all cylinders for like 2 years, and to have that match with Bianca, it was cool. It gave me chills watching it. Just seeing them look at each other gave me chills.
Yeah. There again, it just goes back to what we was just talking about with the gauntlet match with the ladies. Bianca Belair, man, she come out, man, she's ready to go. She looks good. She plays the part all the way. And then Sasha Banks, man, the boss, ain't bad to look at. But then when she get in the ring and start performing, that's when everything changes. And that's what I'm talking about as far as the ladies going out there and literally playing that role all the way out. You just can't look good. You got to look good and tell me a story at the same time. Because it's all about stories, man. It's all about the Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, and Phantom of the Opera. So, yeah, man, awesome match between those 2 ladies. But go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, because I was standing next to, you were on commentary or you were doing something at WrestleMania 35 at the time. I was standing next to Sharmell whenever Kofi won the world title. And that was a big moment, too, when you talk about Black history, right? Sharmell, you were, I'm sure, close to her vicinity, or you talked to her right after this match happened. What was the Queen's reaction to this?
Oh, man, she was really excited, man. She was so excited to see Bianca Belair and, Sasha Banks doing it. And she actually, made the comment. She go, wow, two Black women in there doing it, man. And she said, I ain't mad at them. That's what she said. She said, I ain't mad at them. Just let me know that she gave the stamp of approval, man, that we've come a very, very long way. And big ups to Sasha Banks as well as Bianca Belair, the new women's champion. Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Movie Trivia Schmodown. Yeah, good evening here tonight. Who's ready for some matches, huh? Let's schmodown. Questions are going to be asked to the field. They are each worth 1 point. Who plays Laura in the 2017 film Logan?
Daphne Keane.
Daphne Keane. Round number 2, each competitor is going to get a spin at the wheel. Final round 3 begins.
Niet. No.
Sam Witwer has been eliminated. Celebrity Schmodown, free-for-all style.
Let me see.
Team Classic.
This is why we play the Schmodown.
Rising Sun. And your winner.
MMA or boxing, it's like you want to see the 2 best scrapping it out.
The Schmodown, as we know, we got a little bit of a WWE flavor to it.
And I'm going to give him a show in Chicago. Get your tickets. We are coming with the fire.
Movie Trivia
Ship. We back inside the Hall of Fame. Got a couple of super chats.
Yeah.
Brad.
Let's get to them real quick. The real Giannis says, Booker, why do they have to do the Fiend so dirty? How can they squash someone's character like that or momentum like that? One RKO. We definitely have to talk about that. That's the next match we're going to get into. Let's just see, if you don't mind, we're going to hold that one, Giannis, and we're going to come right back to you because we have these other two super chats before we get off on that. RDAB with the $20. Appreciate you, my man. First, RIP DMX. Now about WrestleMania. I have this weird feeling about the Night One main event. Do you guys find it strange that two black men have never went one-on-one in the Mania main event? First black WWF man, 1950s, Sapphire, 1989. Then he continues with another $20. Appreciate that. Bobo Brazil wrestled San Martino for the WWF title in the 50s and beat Buddy Rogers for the title, but rejected the title. Mr. Brazil also mentioned The Rock's father. 0 black women in the WWF until 1989.
That right there may be the problem. You know what I mean? 0 black women until 1989, okay? It took a lot of groundbreaking to actually, get us to this point. Honestly, myself in WCW being black champion in WCW. Let's just talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
How many other guys in WCW that you would have considered world championship caliber that was black other than me?
You were probably the only one.
It's probably the only one. In WWE, of course, The Rock was there. When I was there, like I say, him and I, we headlined SummerSlam. So that's one for two brothers in the main event slot. I just don't think it's been that many of us in one company at one time that was that looked upon from the fans to say, man, this guy could be world champion. I just don't think it was enough of us. More than anything, we wasn't the dominant number, of guys on the card. Never in this business. So it was always going to be, a black guy normally against a white guy or Mexican guy. You could say that about two Mexicans. How many Mexicans have you had, in the main event, at WrestleMania? You know what I mean? So I just think I think we still got a long way to go.
Sure.
More importantly, I mean, right now in WWE, I think we got more blacks in WWE now than we've ever had.
And more black champions.
More black champions. So we've come a long. I mean, we've come a long way. So I try my best to get away from thinking about, looking at it from a black and white perspective, even though we have situations like Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, where we got to mention it because it's a first. You know,
it's a first. You have to make, yeah.
And it should be recognized, and that's the only reason it should be recognized. And we should move on from that to making it even bigger next time.
And a normal thing where you don't even have that
exactly.
thought,
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. And you and I have talked about this before, but when I was younger and I'd see guys like you, Austin, and Rock, y'all were just my favorite wrestlers. Right, I didn't look at you all in a racial aspect, but that's not. But looking at it in a racial aspect isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Like when I was having this conversation yesterday, it's like when I actually look at Booker's career, you have to acknowledge all the championships, all the most decorated, competitor of any race of all time in WCW history, but the second black man to ever win that world title, which meant so much. You come over to WWE, you win another world title. You're one of first four men to go into the Hall of Fame twice, the only man, African-American man to be in the Hall of Fame twice, right? Like those are things that you have to acknowledge. You're not there in those positions because of your race, but you have to acknowledge that those are groundbreaking, monumental moments. And without Booker T doing what he did in his career, and I'm not just saying this because you're in front of me, I'd say this to anybody. Without you doing what you did and main eventing with The Rock at SummerSlam, being a trailblazer, being the most decorated champion of all time in WCW history, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair don't main event WrestleMania. They don't. You had to break those barriers down. Guys like you, guys like Ron Simmons, guys like The Rock, guys like Mark Henry. It's impossible. It's impossible. And we had that conversation a few years ago about, who was remember Mark Henry had his list of the top black wrestlers of all time, but you can look at it any way you want to. Ron Simmons obviously was the first one to do it, but without your career, none of this that we're talking about is possible. It's not. You were the absolute groundbreaker and the trailblazer for everything that came after you. since the year 2000 on, all the progress that black wrestlers have made in this industry to the moment that we saw on Saturday night with Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks is directly tied to what you did in your career. And I don't know if you ever stop to think and acknowledge that.
I never think about that. I never think about it.
And I understand why. You're not that kind of guy. You're not that kind of person to self-aggrandize. But it's the truth. At the end of the day, it's the God's honest truth. And I'd say that to you even if I didn't know you. Without you, none of that was possible.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I worked hard, man. I worked hard for, the next generation to be able to come up and, go out there and do it big and, take what I did and take it to the next level. Break all my records, if you can. That's my thing. I'm not sitting here saying, man, it's all about me or anything like that. I want to see what wrestling truly can become when so many people out there think about looking at wrestling from a perspective, because when you're from the neighborhood, wrestling is just not a way that you think it's going to be your way out. You're just not looking at it. That's just not it. But when you see people like myself who did it, and then you watch Kofi Kingston, he break through and did do it, and then you watch Sasha Banks, all of her, literally career-making moments, history-making moments that she's been a part of, and now Bianca Belair as well. Bobby Lashley. So I just think, man, once the outside world starts seeing people like that, like myself, Bobby, and the many others, they think, man, this might be a career. This might be a way out, and maybe some years from now, it might be an equal number of superstars on the card. But until we get there, I mean, we're just going to keep trying. But we cannot look back and at the past and complain. We got to work. That's what it's all about. Super chats.
Super chat just came through from Turfa Quimbe. I'm hoping I'm doing that right. I'm sorry, my man. He said, Brad Gilmore, that was beautiful. I appreciate you, man. And then Dodger Ryan 124, the last black wrestler who I thought could really become a main eventer was Sheldon Benjamin back in 2005. He was definitely on the ascent there when he was working with Sean. At that moment.
Sheldon, if Sheldon wasn't bow-legged.
Stop that. Hey, let's transition though to one of the super chats that came in a minute ago from Giannis. Talk about the Fiend. The Fiend comes back after a hiatus.
What's up about that, man?
Burned, battered, torn.
Bow-legged.
Look, man, I'm here to lift Shelton up. I'm not here to tear him down. You know what I mean? I'm here to lift Shelton up. Shelty B. Randy beats the Fiend in 5 minutes.
6.
Oh, 6. Thank you for that correction. 5 minutes, 50 seconds, if you want to be exact about it. I rounded down. But yeah, he beats him in 6 minutes in what was the Fiend's comeback match after being burned all those months ago at, what was that, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, I think? After being burned, he comes back, he magically heals, he's got Alexa, and then Randy wins. With one RKO is trending worldwide WrestleMania night. It just seems like the Fiend, it's just every time he's been given a big spot, he never wins.
Well, the thing is, I said it many, many times, and I don't know if anybody's hearing me or not. The Fiend's career is not about ones and losses.
It's
and
not.
And the thing is, I don't think it should be about ones and losses, because I mean, we saw what happened. The Fiend get beat, lights go out, everybody disappear. So did the Fiend really get beat? Could the Fiend have kicked out? Is the Fiend taking Randy Orton on a ride? What's that? What is going to happen next? To be continued. That's the way I look at it.
No, I mean, look, 99% of the time I'd agree with that take. I'd agree with it 99% of the time. This is the 1% where I disagree, because with the Fiend,
good theory though.
Yeah, it's well. Let me tell you this. This was my first problem with the match. I had no idea who the babyface and who the heel was supposed to be. I have no idea. You know what I mean? And it really is like a horror film, because when you go see Jason, a Friday the 13th movie, Jason's the bad guy, but you're kind of rooting for Jason. You kind of want him to kill everybody, but then you want the people to beat Jason at the end. It's kind of a complicated thing. And with this one, I had no idea who the babyface was. I had no idea who the heel was. And I really didn't get to what the point of it all was. None of it made any sense to me. And if I'm the Fiend coming back after I've been burned alive, you're supposed to kill Randy Orton. Undertaker gets buried alive by Kane, literally buried alive, comes back at WrestleMania, kicks Kane's ass. That seems to be the logical thing. That seems to be how you'd want to do it.
Yeah. Seems that way, but
that's not what they did.
No, but the thing is, we didn't have to Fiend, did that in the past to where something's happened to him and he came back and he was really all that mad about it. You know what I mean?
know, but it's like, why even get up for the match? Why even bother? Like, as a fan, should I bother?
I think the Fiend is more character based than anything, man. I think the Fiend is just to make the story, something different. As far as, the Fiend goes, as far as Bray Wyatt goes, as far as, the mixing of those characters, one day I'm happy, one day I'm mad, so.
Right.
Then, you got Alexa Bliss as well, playing this role, something totally different than she's done before. Now, I know from the outside looking in, people go, man, it's one of those things. Either they like it or they don't, right or wrong.
100%.
Either they like it or they don't. But at the end of this thing, Alexa Bliss is going to come out a better worker, better student of the game. And Bray Wyatt is just working on his craft. That's the way I look at it.
All right. Well, there it is. We got to go to break, bro.
Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer, and this is for all up-and-coming professional wrestlers, male and female. You want to know the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. You got a question, I got the answer. If you want to know how, join my masterclass. Go to realityofwrestling.com for all the information. Starting on Thursday and every Thursday after that, guys. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. And I know you can dig that.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We talking WrestleMania right now. What we got, man? What we got?
I know, and this is our last segment here. We're only through night one. We're only through night one of WrestleMania. That's how great WrestleMania was. We're only through night one. We're starting.
You got another night this week.
We got another night this week, so we're talking about it. Also, for those of you paying attention to the Raw after WrestleMania, we just saw the WWE champion Bobby Lashley completely dominate and destroy Matt Riddle, which brings us to our next match. Matt Riddle versus Sheamus, United States title. Riddle goes under. Sheamus with a brogue kick from all the way from Belfast. Straight delivered, express overnight priority by 9:30 in the morning to Matt Riddle's chin. Boy, was it a beautiful spot. Matt Riddle goes for a lion salt. Sheamus brogue kick, right, perfect time. Makes a lot of contact there. Your new U.S. champ. I loved it.
Hey, man. Riddle, Riddle is the, Riddle was the flavor of the month. All right. Riddle is in a position where, man, everything's working out for him. Flip on a banana peel, win the championship. Keith Lee goes down, Riddle goes up. Sometimes, man, when you get yourself in that position, you got to take it as a blessing. Because sometimes the title don't supposed to come your way. And somehow you slip on a banana peel and you got the title around your waist, just like myself. Television championship back in the day, I wasn't supposed to win. Rick Martel forgot his gear, didn't bring his gear that week. They had to get the title off Disco Inferno. They say, Booker T, hey, we're putting it on you. But we're going to end up dropping it on Rick Martel a couple of weeks later. So you're not going to have the title no more than 3 weeks. And I say, man, okay, cool. But I say, this is my time to shine. I'm going to go out here and make this my moment. They're never going to get the television championship off of me. And then all of a sudden, boom, 6 times later, that's exactly what happened. But I knew I had a chip in the game. Same thing with Riddle. But sometimes, like my mother said back in the day, don't let your mouth overload your behind, son. Okay, don't let your. And I think, in Riddle's case, man, he's
done that once or twice.
He's done that once or twice. I don't know if that's affecting, what's going on with, Riddle right now. But I do know this. Riddle goes down hard to Sheamus. Sheamus goes out and he's the new champion. The thing is, Sheamus, didn't I say that? Didn't I just say this about Sheamus about, I don't know, maybe a month ago? I said, man, I'm sick and tired of seeing the Sheamus with the pulp jacket on.
Yeah.
All right.
We just talked about it.
I said, I want to see the old Sheamus. I want to see the Sheamus, the Celtic Warrior comeback that was just beating guys up, going out and having really, really good matches, psychology, science-wise. And that's the Sheamus that we hopefully, and then a Sheamus that will rough you up a little bit at the same time, because there again, this is not ballet. The match with him and Riddle, I give it an A+.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I liked it. I'm just trying to figure out what we do. Do we save some of the stuff? I feel like we at least have to acknowledge the main event from last night, and we can talk about some of the other matches.
No, we can talk about Riddle and Bobby Lashley.
Well, Riddle just got decimated and dominated by the WWE champion Bobby Lashley with the Hurt Lock. Bobby Lashley also destroying the scooter of one Matt Riddle. Scooter went. They put the kibosh on the scooter. Hey, and by the way, you know what the most shocking moment of WrestleMania was last night?
What?
Rob Van Dam and Matt Riddle and Khali are in a segment together, and Rob Van Dam talks telling Riddle about how you need to start thinking about branding, and then he goes like these, and he reaches into his jacket pocket. He goes, RVD rolling papers, and he hands one to Matt Riddle and hands one to Great Khali. I was like, how did this get passed on the run sheet? How did Peacock's cool with this?
That's what I'm saying. See, RVD could have had a bigger career too. Okay. Let's just say that. Let me just put that out there. But getting arrested when you're the heavyweight champion,
Not a good look.
That could throw a monkey in the wrench.
Not a good look.
So Riddle might need to, think about the advice that he's getting certain people, man, because you got to be wise about the game. I don't know. Bobby Lashley, I didn't get a chance to see it. I'm going to have my television on, man. I don't know why I don't have my television on. I got one right here next to me right now, and I wasn't watching that match. I wish I was, just so I could have. How long did it last?
I don't know. I'll find out. But not long, apparently.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's the way
it was over about 6 minutes after the show started.
Where the old mop flop, man. That's where the old mop flop. One day you're up. One day, yeah, baby, and then you're gone. I messed that note up, but yeah.
It's all good. Well, real quick, we'll talk about it. Let's talk about the main event before we wrap up, because Roman Reigns defeats Edge and Daniel Bryan, in which was not only the longest match on WrestleMania, the best match on WrestleMania, in my opinion. Roman Reigns has now ascended to that spot where he is like Brock Lesnar, where he feels like a big deal when he walks through the curtain, and you're almost sure that he's going to win, and it's going to have to take a gargantuan effort from somebody to beat this guy. He is the man. He's the big dog. He is in the position that they always wanted him to be, and I'm sure Roman Reigns, before he walked through that curtain, he said, look, last time I was at WrestleMania, I was a babyface. They booed the hell out of me. This time I'm walking in the heel. I still want them to boo the hell out of me, right? Because that's my job. And when he walked through that curtain, a sea of boos. I mean, you couldn't even get any louder. They did not want to see Roman Reigns walk out as the world champion. They wanted Edge, who got the biggest babyface reaction. They wanted Daniel Bryan. Roman Reigns victorious, pins both of them at the same time. Can't get any more dominant than that. He is the head of the table.
No, nobody gave it to him either. That's the thing with Roman. Of course, they've invested in Roman, and he's the guy. Is his yard, but nobody gave it to Roman as far as how hard he worked each and every night, no matter whether they booed him or not as a babyface. He still went out and performed at a very, very high level. All of those matches that Roman were having back then, man, there were 9s and 10s on a regular basis. He was coming out and doing that. No matter who he was working with, put anybody in the ring with him, and that guy that he worked with would have the best match that they would have than they've had in quite some time. You know what I mean? And that, for me, is the way I gauge the worker and how good the guy is. And then all of a sudden, the fans realized it as well. He had to turn heel for him to do it, but they realized this guy's every bit a superstar as any one of the Samoans that walked before him. And he does it, like I said, at a very high level from a wrestling IQ perspective. I'm always talking about the Shakespeare and the Phantom of the Opera and the Romeo and Juliet, the Broadway plays, the great movies. And that's what Roman Reigns go out and do for me as a guy that's been in this business for a very, very long time. And I can sit in the back and watch the monitor and watch that whole match and go, that was good, because I know it's going to be reality based. And that's what wrestling has always been for me, that's what would draw me in, the reality base of what those guys went out there and did, not two guys going out there and having fun. And that's what Roman Reigns does for me.
Roman Reigns, 100%. I agree with everything that you said. He's realer than real deal Holyfield, as Snoop Dogg once said. And for Edge to come back and for Daniel to be in this position again, and to really not allow, but to make Roman feel like what he should feel like, the dominator, that nobody's going to stop me. Roman said, I'm walking into WrestleMania as a champion. I'm walking out of WrestleMania as the champion. And Edge and Daniel Bryan did everything they could in that match to make him look like the biggest badass to ever lace up a pair of boots. And mission accomplished. The match was great. You didn't know who was going to win. And here's the thing. This is how I know Roman's effective as a heel. Because when he won, I was mad. I was like, wait a minute. I want Edge to win. I wanted Daniel Bryan to win. I didn't want Roman to win. And when I found myself thinking that, I was like, he's got me. He's got it. Everything that's been done since SummerSlam, perfect to this moment, is what it was building to. Right guy won in the right spot in the main event. Loved it.
Yeah, definitely. If that's the way you were thinking, they did their job. As far as making you mad, it's at the end of it. You might break something.
I was mad. I was mad.
So you throw the remote or something. Break your own TV. That's when the emotional part is really still alive as far as wrestling goes. When they can make you feel that way, that's what I miss about the game more than anything, is making the fans feel a certain way. And Roman Reigns has that knack to where when you that kid today that hate Roman Reigns and they grow up and they happen to meet Roman one day when they're 30 at a Comic-Con or some some card show or whatever, they're gonna tell Roman, man, I hated you when I was a kid, but now I really know why.
Yeah.
One of those deals. Hey, man, go ahead and get that last super chat.
Real quick, again, RDAB, man, you've been coming through today. $24.99 super chat. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys, Booker T and Brad, for not shying away from tough topics like race and wrestling. I agree with Brad. Booker versus Rock for the world title. Should have main evented a Mania, but main eventing SummerSlam paved the way.
Definitely, man. Hey, man. Definitely appreciate you, bro. Thanks for being a part of the Hall of Fame, sticking it out with us. Be back again on Wednesday, man, doing it like it's supposed to be done, making them suckers bow down, making them pay, my son, making them say, Daddy, I don't want none. I had enough. Hey, guys, Bradley, appreciate you. We about this mug. See y'all on Wednesday.
Can you dig it, you sucker?